Hi everyone, and welcome to the last episode of Signs of Spring with Project Grows. I'm Rhiannon Foltz, and this is my second year as a summer youth staff with Project Grows. This summer, we will be working with more of our partner organizations to bring you more videos. Stay tuned for those. We're going to be joined by another awesome organization, the Allegheny Mountain Institute, which you might have seen working with us in the community. Take it away, England.
Hi, I'm England, or some of you might know me as Miss Avis. I'm the garden coordinator here at Bessie Weller Elementary School in Stanton. I work for Allegheny Mountain Institute, and this year we've partnered with Stanton City Schools. This is the first year that Bessie has a garden, so we're very excited to be growing in this space. I'm here now, so let's take a sneak peek and get to know our garden.
Over here is the perennial pollinator area that is soon to have a lot of flowers growing. These raised beds are used mostly for annual vegetables. Here's one of our rain barrels that we use to collect and store rainwater. And over at that end are the compost bins. So welcome to the Bessie Weller School Garden.
If this is your first time planting a garden, you may be wondering, how do I know how much space all of these plants need to grow? Or if you're familiar with gardening, you might just want a way to keep your garden looking organized and tidy. Well, today I'm going to show you a simple method called square foot gardening that you can use at home to help you plan your garden space and make sure that each plant has enough room to grow. Using this method of gardening is a great example of using companion plants. Companion planting means planting a few plants right next to each other that will benefit one another as they grow throughout the season. Now, there's just a few materials that you need at home to get started on your own square foot garden bed.
There are a few things you'll need for this square foot gardening activity. If you don't already have a raised bed, you can use stakes and twine to map out the squares. First, you'll need a measuring tape and maybe a marker, a hammer and nails, some twine, your plant starts, some seeds, and the square foot planting cards from Project Grows. When preparing your square foot garden space, the first thing to do is measure and mark each foot so you know where the squares will be. I used a measuring tape and a marker to mark where I need to put nails in. If you are using an in-ground bed for this activity, you can simply place a garden stake down at the foot measurements. After I marked the foot spots on the edge of the garden bed, I hammered in all of the nails for twine to be tied between. When I was hammering, I made sure not to push the nails entirely into the wood. I left part of the nails slightly visible for just a little bit of twine to be tied around the edge. Once all of the nails or stakes are in, it's time for twine. I like to make a simple loop at the end of the twine and place that loop over one nail. Then, I stretch the twine to the nail directly across, cut the twine, and make another loop to fit over that nail. This twine makes a line across the bed, and you will keep repeating this step until the twine creates a grid over the garden. This grid outlines the square feet in your garden bed, and now you have a great visual guide for where to plant.
Now that I've got our plants and our seed packets, we're ready to plant the square foot garden. But first, how do I know how much space all of them need to grow? I've got some planning cards from Project Grows that would help us understand information about spacing in a visual way. So let's check it out. First, we've got this big broccoli on a sheet. Just one broccoli plant means it needs a whole square foot of space to grow on its own. So we'll plant one broccoli today. Then, look at how many radishes are on this sheet. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 16 radishes. That means this plant needs way less space to grow, so we can plant 16 radishes in just 1 square foot. Here's another example. This one looks like a pepper plant. So a pepper plant turns out to be pretty big, and it's also going to need just 1 square foot on its own. But on the other hand, we've got so many carrots on this sheet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 4 is 16, which means we can also fit 16 carrots in just 1 square. All right, let's get planting. Transplant means to move a plant to its new home. So when you're transplanting, you want to grab the plant by the base of the stem near the soil, take it out gently from its little container, and shake out those roots, and then you'll plant it into the new hole you've dug.
And another way to plant is by direct seeding, which means to place the seeds directly in the soil. Carrots are a great example of a plant that you'd want to direct seed, because once they start growing, they don't want to be transplanted.
We know that plants are living, so they need two really important things to grow: sunlight and water. I'm giving these plants a big drink to help them adjust to their new home. And there you have it, square foot gardening. A great way to make sure your plants have the correct amount of space and to keep your garden looking organized and maximize the amount of growing space of a small garden. Now that you have an intro to square foot gardening, you also know what it means to transplant, direct seed, and use companion plants. In your garden at home, make sure you water the plants every day, check and remove any weeds, and make sure your plants are getting just enough sunlight. Be sure to check back on the Bessie Weller School Garden Facebook page to stay up to date with what's growing in this bed over the summer. Happy gardening!
It's been 2 weeks since I planted the square foot garden bed, so let's take a look and see how well our transplants and directly sown seeds are growing. So our transplanted broccoli, nasturtium, and Swiss chard is looking well. And some radishes were directly sown, and some of these even have their first true leaves. Carrots were directly sown, and those are popping up nicely too. So in just a couple short weeks, you should see some growth in your square foot garden bed too.
Thank you so much for joining us for Signs of Spring. Make sure to download the Square Foot Vegetable Garden materials so you can plan your spring vegetable garden. We hope that this video series helped you notice the many signs of spring, from our farm to your backyard. Make sure you tune in to Project Grows for more awesome videos this summer. See you next time!